Imagine this. Behind closed doors in Ottawa, a decision is quietly taking shape that could rewrite Canada's air power for decades. For years, the plan seemed clear. 88 F-35 fighter jets, straight from the United States, a $19 billion commitment, and a symbol of North American military cooperation. Everyone assumed it was done. Signed, sealed, delivered. But suddenly, the script flips. Canada is quietly looking at a completely different option: Sweden's Gripen fighter jet. Once seen as a smaller player in the global fighter market, the Gripen is suddenly stepping into the spotlight, and not alone. One of the world's most powerful and respected engine makers, Rolls-Royce, may be joining the program. Why does this matter? Because this isn't just about a jet or an engine. This is about billions of dollars, national sovereignty, and the balance of air power in the Northern Hemisphere. A single engine swap could allow Canada to operate independently from U.S. control, avoid political red tape, and rethink what it means to defend the Arctic and beyond. Think of it like a chessboard where every move counts. For decades, the U.S. has dominated the skies through allies and controlled supply chains. But now, quietly, a new player could be shifting the game behind the scenes. The Gripen, powered by Rolls-Royce, could challenge assumptions, disrupt long-standing alliances, and give Canada a level of independence it has never had before. This is where our story begins, with a twist no one expected and stakes that go far beyond the cockpit. Canada's fighter jet saga is no longer just a domestic procurement issue. It's a story of strategy, influence, and the kind of bold choices that could echo across the globe. Choosing a fighter jet isn't like picking a new car. For Canada, it's about survival in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. The country spans 10 million square kilometers, with long stretches of Arctic tundra, isolated air bases, and frozen highways that double as runways in emergencies. Any jet Canada buys has to handle extreme cold, short or improvised runways, and long flights over vast, empty spaces. Enter the F-35. It's a marvel of modern engineering, stealthy, fast, and packed with sensors. But it comes with serious trade-offs. It's expensive to operate, requires a large maintenance crew, and is tightly tied to U.S. supply chains. Every upgrade, every engine part, every software update is controlled by American authorities. For a country like Canada, seeking operational independence, that's a major limitation. Now, compare that to the Gripen. Sweden designed this jet for countries with challenging environments and limited resources. It's cheap to run, can take off from highways, needs a smaller maintenance crew, and can quickly return to combat-ready status. It's built for adaptability. Exactly what Canada needs when patrolling the Arctic or responding to sudden threats. But here's the tension. Canada can't just buy a plane that works in the cold. It also wants political independence and budget control. The F-35 locks it into U.S. oversight and high costs. The Gripen promises freedom and efficiency, but until recently, a critical weakness made that choice risky: the engine. This dilemma sets the stage for everything that comes next. Canada is balancing geography, politics, and sovereignty. And the solution might just come from a surprising combination: a Swedish fighter and a British engine manufacturer. Every great fighter jet has a heart, its engine. And for the Gripen, that heart has always been a problem. Sweden's jet relies on the US-made GF414 engine, a powerful machine. Yes, but one that comes with strings attached. Why does this matter? Because the GEF414 isn't just a piece of hardware, it's a political lever. The US has veto power over exports. That means any country wanting to buy a Gripen could be blocked or delayed simply because of American policy. For Canada, a nation that values sovereignty and operational independence, that's a deal breaker. It's like owning a car that can't leave your driveway without the manufacturer's permission. This limitation has shaped Gripen's reputation. Many countries hesitated to buy it, not because it lacked performance, but because the engine tied them to Washington's control. Canada, Finland, and other nations with independent security ambitions always saw that single factor as a potential trap, a fighter they couldn't fully control. So, for decades, Gripen's engine problem kept it from being a real competitor to the F-35. No matter how efficient, cold-ready, or flexible the plane was, the U.S. engine meant it wasn't truly independent. But imagine if that dependency disappeared. Imagine a Gripen with a heart that doesn't answer to Washington. Suddenly, everything changes. And that's where the next twist comes in: Rolls-Royce. Now imagine that same Gripen, but this time, its engine comes from Rolls-Royce, one of the world's most respected engine makers. Suddenly, the jet's biggest weakness vanishes. No more U.S. veto, no more political strings, no more reliance on a single foreign supplier. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a strategic transformation. A Rolls-Royce engine gives Canada and other potential buyers a non-U.S. path. That means more freedom in choosing when, where, and how to operate their fighter jets. Maintenance, upgrades, and even export decisions no longer hinge on American approval. For a country patrolling the Arctic or running NORAD missions, that independence is honestly priceless. But the benefits go deeper than politics. Rolls-Royce has decades of experience building engines optimized for extreme cold, the kind of reliability Canada needs for Arctic missions. Their technology ensures that the Gripen can perform in temperatures that would ground most other jets. Plus, Rolls-Royce has strong ties with NATO aerospace industries, which opens doors for industrial partnerships, technology transfer, and domestic assembly. Opportunities the F-35 program simply doesn't provide. Think of it like giving a top athlete the right shoes and training they've been missing for years. Suddenly, they don't just compete, they dominate. That's the potential of the Gripen-Rolls-Royce combination. What was once limited by a single engine choice now becomes a globally competitive, strategically independent fighter. And with this setup, the story doesn't just affect Canada. It reshapes the entire global fighter market, as you'll see next. A Rolls-Royce-powered Gripen isn't just a better plane, it's a geopolitical game-changer. By removing U.S. control over the engine, countries like Canada gain true sovereignty over their air forces. No more waiting on American approvals for upgrades, spare parts, or even export decisions. It's kind of like moving from renting a house under strict rules to owning a property you fully control. This shift also directly challenges the Pentagon's long-standing dominance in the global fighter market. For decades, the U.S. used controlled engines and components as a way to maintain influence over Allied air forces. Gripen's dependence on the American GE F-414 engine was one of Washington's few levers over Sweden's fighter program. Remove that lever, and suddenly, the U.S. loses a pillar of its influence. The ripple effects are significant. Countries like Finland, the Czech Republic, and developing nations could now see Gripen as a safer, politically independent alternative to the F-35. Every sale that slips away from Lockheed Martin isn't just a financial loss, it's a reduction in American strategic reach. Think of it as losing control over the chessboard in a high-stakes game of air power. In other words, this isn't just a fighter jet story. It's a story about power, influence, and independence on the global stage. The Gripen, paired with Rolls-Royce, could give nations an option to operate advanced fighters without being tied to Washington, reshaping alliances and shifting the balance of military influence. Let's bring this closer to home. Beyond the geopolitics, a Rolls-Royce-powered Gripen offers tangible, practical benefits for Canada. Advantages that the F-35 simply can't match. First, there's operational independence. With no reliance on U.S. approvals for parts, upgrades, or engine servicing, Canada can make decisions on its own schedule. That means faster responses, less bureaucratic delay, and complete control over its air force. Imagine being able to maintain, upgrade, or even export a fighter without asking permission from Washington. That's true sovereignty in action. Next is Arctic performance. Rolls-Royce engines have proven expertise in extreme cold conditions, aligning perfectly with Canada's massive northern airspace. Gripens could patrol the Arctic reliably, take off from short or improvised runways, and operate in temperatures that would challenge most other fighters. Think of jets that can land on frozen highways or remote northern strips. That's operational freedom tailored for Canada. Then there's cost and maintenance. Gripens are already known for low operating costs and minimal maintenance requirements. Pairing them with a reliable Rolls-Royce engine keeps upkeep predictable, reduces downtime, and extends the jet's service life. Over decades, that's billions saved compared to the F-35's expensive and complex support infrastructure. Finally, there's domestic industrial opportunity. Rolls-Royce ties open the door to Canadian assembly, maintenance hubs, and technology transfer. That's not just jobs. It's building Canadian expertise and a long-term aerospace industry presence. Something the F-35 program doesn't fully allow. Picture it. Gripens taking off from a northern highway, patrolling Arctic airspace with minimal crew, maintained and upgraded in Canadian facilities, operating freely without foreign restrictions. This combination of sovereignty, reliability, and practicality makes the Gripen-Rolls-Royce option far more than just a fighter. It's a strategic tool built for Canada's unique challenges. All of this sounds promising on paper, but is it actually happening? The answer is yes. There are clear signals that the Gripen-Rolls-Royce partnership is moving from possibility to reality. First, look at Canada's procurement actions. Delays or re-evaluations in F-35 payments suggest that Ottawa is keeping the door open for alternatives. This isn't just a bureaucratic hiccup, it's a strategic pause that could allow Gripen to compete seriously. Next, technical announcements from Saab and Rolls-Royce hint at deeper collaboration. Any updates about integrating a Rolls-Royce engine into the Gripen platform are major indicators that the plan is advancing beyond early talks. Then there's industrial participation. Mentions of Canadian factories or local assembly are not trivial. They signal that discussions are being taken seriously, with concrete plans for Canadian involvement in maintenance, tech transfer, and long-term support. All things that strengthen political and public support at home. And of course, there's U.S. political reaction. Washington keeps a close eye on these deals. If lobbying ramps up, it's often a sign that Gripen is gaining traction. Countries rarely attract this level of attention from the Pentagon unless they are challenging U.S. influence. Finally, there's grassroots and political momentum in Canada. Public opinion, parliamentary discussions, and media coverage show growing curiosity and support for exploring alternatives to the F-35. The narrative is shifting. The Gripen is no longer a distant underdog. It's a serious contender for Canada's air fleet. All these signs together paint a clear picture. The Gripen, with Rolls-Royce engines, is not just a theoretical option anymore. It's a real, actionable path, and the next decision Canada makes could reshape its air power for decades. So, let's step back and see the full picture. Canada's fighter jet saga isn't just about buying planes, it's about sovereignty, strategy, and influence. An underdog jet from Sweden, combined with the legendary engineering of Rolls-Royce, could give Canada a fighter that is independent, reliable, cost-effective, and Arctic-ready. The stakes are enormous. This isn't just about dollars. It's about control over national airspace, freedom from foreign oversight, and the ability to make strategic choices without interference. Every F-35 sale lost isn't just a financial hit for the U.S. It's a shift in the global balance of air power. The story isn't over yet. Will Canada take the leap and embrace the Gripen-Rolls-Royce combination? If it does, the decision will echo for decades, shaping not just Canadian defense, but the dynamics of NATO, NORAD, and global fighter markets. For viewers, here's the takeaway. This is a story worth watching closely. The decisions made now in Ottawa and Stockholm could redefine North American air power and challenge assumptions about who controls the skies. So stay tuned, stay informed, and watch how this saga unfolds. Because the Gripen, powered by Rolls-Royce, could very well change the game forever.